it's that time for your favorite show of the week. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's the NFC West Huddle. That's where we go around the NFC West and check in on each expert in each market. Over in San Francisco, we got my guy, Keyshawn Ward. He's the guy that, you know, the 49ers aren't on a bye week, but he's working on his biceps every week, right? You ask him, where the restrooms at? He goes, they are that way right there, because he has to show off. Over in Seattle, we got my guy, Ethan McReynolds. Ethan, the only guy that looks better than you in Seattle right now is Sam Darnold. We know Aaron Levine's the smartest.
There we go.
But you're the sharpest, that's for sure. And in L.A., it's Gerard Bunkere. Yeah, he only shows up after a championship, right? The Doyers win the championship, and now he's here to brag. You know, all he does is win, no matter what. I beat him in a dream. I woke up and I apologize. Welcome back, Gerard. I'm sure you got your championship ring with you. I'm Richard Science here in Arizona, the GM and owner of a fantasy football powerhouse known as the Chimichangas. Let's get right to it. The trade deadline has come and gone. Who won the trade deadline? Every team pretty much made a move in the week leading up to the trade deadline, except for the Arizona Cardinals. Over in Seattle, not like you guys needed some help at wide receiver, but you get the speedy guy out of New Orleans, Rashid Shaheed. Ethan, what do you think about how you guys did at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I am absolutely thrilled with what the Hawks were able to accomplish. They bring it, you mentioned it, they bring in receiver Rashid Shaheed in exchange for a 4th and a 5th round pick. Shaheed, he's one of the best deep threats in the entire league with legit burner speed. It's the one thing this offense was sort of missing after moving on from DK Metcalf. Shaheed has familiarity with offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak from their time together last year in New Orleans. And Shaheed was incredibly effective last season in 6 games with Kubiak before he got hurt. Now you present a real challenge for defenses. Do you shade a safety towards JSN and risk Shaheed burning you over the top? Or do you keep safety help for Shaheed and leave JSN in single coverage? This passing game was already elite at this point through the season, through 8 games, and somehow they got even better at the trade deadline. I'm really excited to see how this opens things up even more for JSN, and maybe the running game as well, with teams having to respect the pass and the deep ball even more. And I'm really excited to see the Seahawks carve teams up on play action over and over and over again for the rest of the season. I think out of all the teams in the division, the Seahawks absolutely improved the most before the trade deadline. And they also needed to make a move. Cooper Kupp dealing with a hamstring injury. The depth of that position is definitely a question mark. Torrey Horton has been injury prone his entire career. That's why he slid down to the 5th round. So the Seahawks added to a position of need at wide receiver, and they also got better as well.
Yeah, over in San Francisco, it wasn't a trade deadline move, but you guys get better on defense. You get the defensive end, Keon White, from New England. Keyshawn, just tell us what you guys think about that move.
I mean, to be honest, Richard, it's not the sexiest move, or it's not going to make headlines for TV, but it's pretty smart, in my opinion, for the Niners, because, let's be honest, man, this team is not going to win a Super Bowl this year. I mean, there's just too many injuries to overcome at key positions. When you're missing a guy like Brock Purdy, who has so much uncertainty with his turf toe injury, then you lose defensive ends Nick Bosa and Mykel Williams, and then Fred Warner having a dislocated ankle. It's just too many things to overcome. So I think having a 6'5" specimen like Keon White could really build for the future for the 49ers, and then also picking up Clelin Ferrell, a former first-rounder, who's not really going to be a big name on the defensive line, but just creates pressure in the meantime. I think right now the Niners, they're like in the middle of the pack. Like, yes, they're 6-3, but this is not a team that's going to be a legit contender when it all matters, just because there's too many injuries to overcome. So I actually like the move, and it's kind of like a bargain shopping for the Niners. So I think it's smart for them to just not be a big buyer at the trade deadline, but just to get something for the future in the meantime.
Yeah, so far I like the 2 moves that both Seattle and San Francisco made, right? Shaheed's a 27-year-old. He's in his prime. And then, White, a guy that could be a guy that just needed a change of venue, right? Because he has potential, just didn't seem to fit, there in New England. Over in L.A., Gerard, you guys needed help at the quarterback position. McVay asked, and he receives, right? A nice trade for you guys in Roger McCreary, and you didn't give up much, a 5th-round pick.
Exactly, 2026 5th-rounder. Earlier in the year, the defensive backfield, which was the weakest point of probably this Rams team overall, lost Ahkello Witherspoon to a collarbone. So they had been playing without him and kind of surviving, but Roger McCreary brings the ability to tackle first and foremost. 253 tackles in his time with the Tennessee Titans, 17 deflections, 3 picks, and he's got experience, final year of his rookie contract. So he's not a young buck, but he's a young player, which fits right into what this Rams defense is. They are a young defense. It is the one spot that they needed to solidify maybe just a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball with the defensive backfield. He got his feet wet against the Saints, did not play any defensive snaps, but played 11 snaps on special teams. So he will be ready to go against Keyshawn's 49ers on Sunday. He's not the sexy pick, like you said, Richard, that the Seahawks made in Shaheed to help out Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba, but he is what the Rams needed. I'm talking about McCreary, to bring a little bit more veteran leadership, I guess, even though he's a young guy, and a proven performer to that defensive backfield. So they did what they needed to do, and they are ready to roll from here.
Yeah, and a smart move by the Rams to bring him along slowly, have him on special teams, and then start to get his feet wet in the secondary when the games start to get going, especially these division games, this weekend and next weekend. As far as the Arizona Cardinals go, they didn't make a move at all, right? They stayed put, but it seems like they did get a new player in Walter Nolan, the top pick who played for the first time on Monday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys, and wow, he was absolutely fantastic. Coming through on the first series of the game, he got a tackle for loss, 4 tackles in all. He had a pass deflector, a quarterback hit, and a sack. And oh, by the way, he opened up things for other guys. All of a sudden, Josh Sweat is getting to the quarterback. Calais Campbell got a sack. The Cardinals got 5 sacks as a team, against the Dallas Cowboys. And it's amazing to see what one guy on that D-line that draws attention, that gets penetration up the gut. You can move him on the outside of defensive end, a lot like Aaron Donald. I'm not saying Walter Nolan's like Aaron Donald, but when you get a guy that's like that creates some havoc, it really seems to open up for the rest of the guys on the defense. And boy, he was a breath of fresh air. So it's almost like they made a deal and got this guy as a free agent or in a trade because he hadn't played all year long. He got hurt with a calf injury during training camp. You're thinking, oh boy, the bad luck strikes the Cardinals once again. But well, he came at just the right time, and the Cardinals are back into the win column. Now that we'll see if they can ride that momentum into the division games that we'll talk about coming up after this break. The division games for the NFC West coming up right after the break. And we're back. It's more from the NFC West Huddle. And speaking of the NFC West plays each other, right? Each team playing a division opponent. So, yeah, we're getting to the good stuff now. In L.A., we got L.A. against San Francisco. Keyshawn, you get Gerard coming in here. He's got his shoulder. He's walking around like a proud peacock, right? Because his Dodgers won. His Lakers are off to a good start. DeAndre Ayton's actually playing for a change. And now he's talking smack that they're going to beat the 49ers. Keyshawn, are you going to take that from this guy?
Hey, Richard, the faithful are not going to hear this, but they're going to beat the Niners on Sunday. I'm sorry, man, because after what happened on Thursday Night Football earlier this year, they're going to be seeing red the way the Niners embarrassed with their JV squad. But on a serious note, man, this Rams front is one of the best in the NFL. I mean, on that night, they held Christian McCaffrey to 22 carries, only 57 yards rushing. So just imagine a team that's already pissed off that they got embarrassed on Thursday Night Football in a crushing fashion, but also they just have really good players up front. Everybody thinks of Jared Verse with his pass rush, but this team is really great all around with their front 7. I mean, let me give you a couple of numbers that caught my eye. This Rams front pretty much hasn't given up a big play on 3rd and 12 throughout the entire year, which is incredible after 9 weeks of the season. And also, they're number 1 in the league when it comes to winning on 2nd and 11. Such random stats, but it's something that really just speaks about how great this Rams front is. It is all around with, Jared Verse, Fisk, and then Young as well. So I just think that it's going to be too much for the Niners to really overcome this time, because it's going to be already a mad NFC West team that got embarrassed on Thursday night. And then the Rams, they're one of the best in the league right now, so I got to give my credit to the Rams. I just think they're going to beat the Niners this Sunday.
All right, I'm writing it down in my diary. Keyshawn Ward has given up on the 49ers. He's marking them off. They're on a permanent bye week. as he works on his biceps. All right, Gerard, so, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to say the Rams are going to win, right? Because all you do is win, right? All you do is cover championships. Just tell us about the Rams, who seem to be peaking at just the right time, and now we're just going to start, back-to-back weeks with division games.
Richard, I was there in week 5, and let me tell you, the Rams should have won that game about 3 different times. It was embarrassing for Sean McVay and this squad. And I remember after that loss to the 49ers in the locker room, there were guys verbally upset. I mean, shouting, things I cannot repeat right now. But that just tells you how upset they were with losing that game. And I'm going to give the 49ers some credit in that Week 5 victory. They made the plays they needed to make, but the Rams should have won the game. I mean, Tyron Williams fumbling at the 1. They could have kicked the field goal to tie it, but you don't want to do that. And then they don't pick up the yard to advance the drive in overtime. There were a lot of different plays that got away from them, but they put that behind, and they're 6-2. Now they're ready to play and go up to Levi's on Sunday and play a much cleaner game. In that game in Week 5, they let the 49ers convert 47% of their third downs. I mean, it was just ridiculous. 7 of 18, they were 3 for 3 on fourth down. These are things that I just spoke with defensive coordinator Chris Shula in the media availability a little while ago, and he knows they can't allow that again this time around. Christian McCaffrey, 82 receiving yards. The linebackers were letting him get underneath them. These were all the things that have been spoken about. So the Rams know the mistakes they made in that Week 5 loss. They've got to continue to play a clean game defensively. Puka Nacua, good to go on the offensive end. Minor rib injury against the Saints, but he should be available. And the offense has been rolling. 35 points against Jacksonville, 34 points against the Saints. Matthew Stafford has been protected very, very well. So they are in full go mode right now. But can they learn from their mistakes from Week 5 and put those into motion Sunday at Levi Stadium and pick up a road win, a division road win that they should win?
All right, well, I just hope it's a high-scoring affair and the ground game for each team does well, because I got Christian McCaffrey on the chimichangas and Kerwin Williams as well. So I want both guys to ground and pound and keep it close so both running backs are in it. It doesn't become a shootout with a bunch of passing. And I want to let people know that are watching this, whether it's online or on TV, that, before we start, we're setting up and I can hear people talking. And when Ethan McReynolds is not working on his hair, he's talking about how great the Seattle Seahawks and Sam Darnold are. And he was already talking about, like, this week doesn't even matter. They're talking about, it's between us and the Rams. So, Ethan, I know what you're going to say about this game against the Arizona Cardinals. So just tell us why the Seahawks are going to win this game so easily, according to you and your perfect hair.
Yeah, well, so, Richard, I'm allowed to look forward to the Rams game. The Seahawks, those players in the locker room are not, and I assure you they are not. They are riding all the momentum in the world after that dominant win in primetime over the Commanders. So, the Hawks listed as a 6.5-point favorite over the Cardinals. I think that's about right. Yeah, Arizona's coming off that good win over the Cowboys. Richard, I'm sure you'll talk about that, but I just think the Hawks are the more talented team in all 3 phases of the game. They're the only team in the league ranked in the top 5 in DVOA for all 3, offense, defense, and special teams. As long as Sam Darnold can take care of the ball, I expect this one to look a lot similar to the first 3 quarters of their first matchup on Thursday Night Football, when the Hawks were dominating before they let the Cardinals back into the game late, ended up tying that game late in the fourth quarter, needed some late game heroics. I think the defense, and particularly the pass rush, will be able to get Jacoby Brissett off schedule, and I like the Seahawks to take advantage of the Cardinals on a short week on Sunday.
Well, you asked me, last week who I thought was going to win the division, and I said Seattle because of their defense, right? Your defense is absolutely amazing, and I think you got to give credit to the Seattle Seahawks organization as a whole, because when you see what they've done with Sam Darnold, even last year with Geno Smith, a guy that I was not a fan of, and for you guys to continue to win and be in the mix with that type of a quarterback just says what kind of organization you guys have. And look what Sam Darnold did, when he was, in New York. It wasn't the same. Maybe he's matured, but I think a lot has to go with who you're playing for and who you're playing with, and you got to give credit to the Seattle Seahawks. So I think the Seahawks are going to win the game, but I'm going to take a moral victory here. I think the Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to take them plus the points, right? It's the Cardinals plus 6.5. I'll take that because when you look at the 5 losses the Cardinals had in a row, they were by combined 13 points. None of them were by more than 4 points. A couple of them by last-second field goals. Before their 10-point win on Monday night, no game was more than 7 points differential. So they're in every game. They haven't really had a clunker. They haven't gotten blown out. And you mentioned Jacoby Brissett. I think he gives the Cardinals a better chance to win. Of course, that's a topic coming up. But you know, when you look at how the offense has played with Jacoby Brissett since he took over, before the win on Monday night, they gave the Colts all they could handle. They gave the Packers all they could handle. And now they finally get over the hump and they get the win. I mentioned Walter Nolan, what he's done for that defense. They're opportunistic. They've got some confidence. So we'll see what happens. Of course, division games are always interesting. And for some reason, Seattle has had the Cardinals number. But that was with Kyler Murray at quarterback. Let's talk about that. Kyler Murray now on the IR, out for at least 4 weeks. The earliest he can come back would be against the Rams later in the year. Coming up after the break, we'll talk about Kyler and his future with the Arizona Cardinals. More on the Cardinals QB situation coming up right after the break. All right, and we're back. It's another segment of the NFC West Huddle. And boy, some big news in the NFC West, especially here in Arizona. Kyler Murray now on the IR, the injured reserve list. He's going to miss at least the next 4 games. Can't come back till that Rams game. Jacoby Brissett was already playing well before this happened. Some people thought Jacoby should have been the starter to begin with, and it looked like that was what was happening here in Arizona. So I want to ask you guys, Keyshawn, what do you think? You know, we've seen backups play well, right? Mac Jones, you know, Sam Darnold, you know, Daniel Jones. Will a change of venue help Kyler Murray, or should he stay here and try to battle it out? Have we seen the last of Kyler Murray as a Cardinal? Keyshawn, what do you think?
Richard, I don't want to be the one to say I told you so, but I told you so. Coming into this season, man, I just knew that it was either going to be Kyler Murray or Jonathan Gannon. There was no chance in heck that both of those guys would come back as Arizona Cardinals next season. I mean, it seems like, first off, this current regime under the Cardinals, they didn't draft Kyler Murray, so they're already going to look for their own guy in this upcoming draft or somewhere else outside in the NFL on these other teams. But, man, it just seems like Murray, yes, he's one of the greatest, not greatest, he's one of the best throwers of football in the NFL when it comes to throwing deep. And, you know, he's one of the most elusive. But the problem is, for some reason, this offense is not in rhythm when he's on the field. It's just not producing enough points. And I don't know if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn this past Monday, Marvin Harrison Jr. had his most catches in the game with Jacoby Brissett. So it just seems like it's not really Kyler Murray. Sometimes it's got to be a different guy in there to do the job. So I think, yes, Murray would play his last down as a Cardinal this season. I think that after this year, he'll get traded elsewhere, or worst case scenario, he'll get released. Yeah, 7 catches for Marvin Harrison. He looked like the top 4 pick the Cardinals expected him to be. All right, Ethan, you guys, gave Sam Darnold new life. You see what can happen when you get a quarterback and a change of venue. What do you think about Kyler Murray's future with the Cardinals?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't have an incredible answer, but my gut tells me I feel like you have to move on at this point. I think it's pretty clear that Kyler Murray isn't the fit for this regime in Arizona. Keyshawn, you mentioned it. Jonathan Gannon and co. did not draft Kyler. And I also feel like it being Kyler's best interest for a fresh start elsewhere. It seems he might be a little distracted or something. I don't know what's going on. From the outside looking in, and Richard, you'd have a better indicator here. It seems like the guys in that locker room are responding better to Jacoby Brissett's veteran leadership. If that's the case, I just don't know how you can go back to Kyler. It's going to take a Russell Wilson type buyout to make it happen. I don't know who's trading for Kyler Murray's contract, but I just think it's very possible that we've seen the last of Kyler Murray in Arizona. Not the last of Kyler Murray. I think he'd be a great bounce-back candidate for another team, but I just don't know if it can be with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, excellent point, because, Jacoby Brissett spreads the love, right? 6 different receivers, caught passes. Trey McBride gets 2 touchdowns in a single game for the first time since he was in college with Jacoby Brissett. Gerard, you guys made a major change at quarterback, bringing in Matthew Stafford and let Jared Goff go. So you know what a change at quarterback could do. What do you think about Kyler Murray and staying in Arizona? Should he go to New Orleans? Should he go, somewhere to the Raiders, somebody that needs a quarterback? What are your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, Jared Goff is not here anymore because of that Super Bowl game against the New England Patriots. Had he played just a better game, the Matthew Stafford trade never would have even taken place. So Kyler Murray's never had anything that extreme that would make Cardinal management want to run him out of town. So I'm not sold on Jacoby Brissett just yet. He's played better, but you got to remember, in the quarterback position in the NFL, you know, you're a hit away from the next guy being up. While Jacoby Brissett, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, he's played well. The sample size, I think, is still too small. Now, could Kyler Murray come back from the injured list and step in if Jacoby gets hurt and lead them to some more victories, and all of a sudden we're right back to where we started? Sure. If Jacoby finishes the rest of the year and maybe the Cardinals push towards a playoff berth, then I would have to say Kyler Murray will not be an Arizona Cardinal anymore. But I think it's too early to jump to conclusions just yet. I got to see Jacoby Brissett play some more. I really do.
All right, well, yeah, you got to remember, Gerard, we're not like you guys in LA. We can't just go buy another quarterback, right? We got to get the best bang for our buck here in Arizona, right? We don't got that Tinseltown money, so just give us a break, you know. So they got to get it right, and they got to get it right now, right? So Ethan, I'm going to give you the last segment here, the last chance to talk. Tell us, because now the people are saying the Rams are a top 3 team in the NFC to win the Super Bowl, and I wrote it in my diary right here. I wrote, anybody but LA. So please convince me, Ethan, why you guys, you're like Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope. Please tell us why Seattle will not let the Rams go to the Super Bowl and win the division at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Seahawks have shown that they absolutely deserve to be right there with the Rams, if not above them in the Super Bowl odds list. This is a complete football team. I mentioned it earlier in the show. It's not just a dominant defense supplemented by a mediocre offense that does just enough to get the job done like we expected before the season and what we had in 2013 with the Legion of Boom. Sam Darnold is playing precise, confident football behind an offensive line that has been very good in pass protection and much improved from last year. And oh yeah, you have the best receiver in the league so far this season in JSN, on pace to break the single-season receiving yards record. I'm looking forward to our matchup with the Rams next week to see how we stack up. But as of right now, the Seahawks have absolutely forced themselves into that Super Bowl conversation, and in my opinion, should be seen as the favorites to win the NFC West.
I love it. I love it. Let's go with that. And Gerard, we're going to have another segment, another show, so you can rebuke that. But hey, you're like the guy that dates 5 cowboy cheerleaders. Can we have at least one? You got to date them all? You got to have all the hot chicks?
No.
Give us one.
No,
please.
you cannot.
Anybody else? Yeah, man. Typical LA, right? All right, well, guys, thanks for joining us. Gerard, we'll give you a chance to talk next time. Have a good night, everybody. Let us have one, Gerard, just one.